Welcome everyone to this week's Tech Talk. We're going to dive into a pretty cool topic, basically no code or code by chat or whatever you want to call it, development tools within the AI space. One of the other big terms that people are using at the moment is vibe coding. I don't know if anyone's heard of that before, but vibe coding is been thrown around a lot, based around the fact that you're just coding off vibe with no real skill, but that's the great thing, you can do it. So we're going to dive into that. We're going to look at a few different platforms today that have really emerged in this space and that I think are some of the sort of front runners. So the two are Lovable, which is absolutely killing it. I think, one of the founders of HubSpot owns a part of it. I think they've been one of the fastest companies to reach 100 mil AAR, and even quicker than what ChatGPT did when they kicked through. So absolutely flying, and just a really cool platform. The other one's Vercel, and the good difference between the two is Vercel is a no-code development platform designed more for developers, because you can get in the background and then code and do things like that. And you've probably got more flexibility with that, but Lovable is designed as anyone can use. And so we'll look at both of them today. We'll show you how easy it is to be able to do it. Caveat, there are still some little complexities that you may still need developers for when it comes to these tools. So it's not like 100% there. There's some things that can be a little bit complex. And one example is, if you were to create a lead magnet or something like that, you would then need to, integrate it with your CRM. You would need to, add your domain so it appears as whatever your website is, and that can be done. But you need to link DNS settings. You need to do a bunch of different things. Sometimes you need to link APIs, and it is definitely easier. And you could probably stumble through it yourself, but a lot of the time you might need some support just to get it done. But the great thing about this is we can create apps, lead magnets, websites, landing pages, whatever it is, in 5 minutes compared to a month or 2 months. Now, the way I am with it at the moment, I probably wouldn't go and create a full website unless you were smaller business starting out and you wanted just something quick and easy. That would be perfectly fine. If you're a bit more established, there's still difficulties around going back and making changes once it's launched. You can definitely do it, but it's not as easy as if you've got an established, if you've got a really established platform that allows you to go in and easily make changes. 1 second, I just realized my battery's about to die, so it's a good start. So I'm just going to quickly plug my laptop in. There we go, we're safe. So as I was saying, you can build websites, you can build big, complex applications. Probably where I see the sweet spot at the moment is building lead magnets. So you might want to create a quiz and you might want to fully customize it, or you might want to create different sort of lead magnets for people to come in. And then the other would be probably landing pages. Landing pages are really quick and easy to create. And then the final one would be productivity and ops tools. So tools to help your team internally. And those ones there are ones that you can do, straight away. You can create something, you can get them to use it. You don't need any developers because, it doesn't really matter if it doesn't have your URL. You can obviously go change that, and you might not need it to, link directly to your CRM. So a really cool space. And I think the crazy thing about this space is just how far it's come in such a short time. There was obviously a lot of chat around no-code development probably 12 months ago, but this type of stuff didn't exist back then. And in such a short space, it's really exploded. And I think, if you have a play around with it, you'll just see how cool it is, because it's almost addictive, the type of stuff that you can do. If you can think it, you can do it. And so really, really cool, really interesting. And we're going to dive into it today, and we're going to go through you know, the things that you can do. We're going to do a live demo and show you how easy it is to build something, and then how easy it is to, you know, adapt and change it as we move forward. So I'll just share my screen. All right, so just here we've got Lovable. You know, if anyone's used ChatGPT or Claude or anything like that, similar interface, I've already got a prompt in there ready to go, because I'll probably click it soon, because it probably does take a couple of minutes, maybe 5 minutes for it to do everything it needs to, and you'll see it in the background, like writing the code for you. But, you know, exact same type of setup. Just realized I'm not logged in, which will help. Key thing to note is that for Lovable, I'm using a free account. For Claude, I'm using a paid account. So you can see within the systems what you can do, but basically the free account, even on Vercel, will allow you to do a lot. You probably could create like 1 or 2 apps a month, depending on how many times you ask questions and change. But, you know, good to know that there are some free features there, so you can pretty much, you know, jump on now and have a play around with it as we're walking through. All right, the key thing to anything when we're working with AI is the prompt. So how do we prompt? You know, we spoke about it before with Tech Talks. You know, we don't write our own prompt anymore. We barely do anything anymore because of AI. We get AI to write our prompt for us. So, you know, as you would go through a process, you know, potentially in ChatGPT, of asking or ideating even what you want and getting it to work with you. You know, when we prompt, we don't always necessarily accept the first prompt. We can go back, ask clarification questions. And, you know, what I always like to do is when I prompt would be, you know, this is my idea. What do you think about it? You know, ask me any questions to clarify so I know you understand. Always what really works well. And then when they do those clarifying questions and I provide those answers, then I can say, using this information, please provide me a prompt to build this, you know, using this system. And, you know, you can include things like, you know, what you want in it. You can say, these are the colors that I want it to look like. You know, give an example of a website. I've done it before. I've said, you know, make it look like this website page, and it'll be able to sort of follow that. So really cool. You know, just another platform that I play around with a bit at the moment that some people might not be using, and I find it's excellent for. Sorry, where's my tasks? How many tabs open? I find it's just excellent for what it can do is Manus.ai. I find if I have a problem or, you know, something in business and I take it to Manus, I find that the output that it gives is so much more advanced than some of the other platforms. And, you know, things change rapidly, so people may find that, and I'm not here to sell Manus. Again, there's a free account in Manus. But if you ask it a question, it will pretty much always take about, you know, 5 minutes to respond, because it just goes through so much data and it considers so much. Some key differences around this is it's the way it handles tasks. There's some like famous videos out there of Manus and the fact that when you ask it a question, it can you can ask multiple questions. So, you know, in ChatGPT, if you ask a question, it starts going down the wrong track. You need to stop and then ask it a question. In Manus, you can just keep asking and it just keeps thinking and just keeps adding to it. And there's some famous videos out there where it's like processing 500 tasks at one time, you know, all in the same system. This will spit out things too, like Word docs for you, and, you know, really handy for, you know, problem solving, for really critical thinking. Like I said, I know there's a lot of tools out there and we try not to use too many, but, you know, my 2 main ones in terms of from general tap would probably be ChatGPT and Manus at the moment. I'm even over Claude. So, you know, what do? We come up with an idea, we put it in ChatGPT, we get that prompt. So, you know, getting the prompt is always the key part. Once we have the prompt, we obviously bring it in here and we bring it into Lovable. And you can see it's spinning up and they're both doing the same, where it's like literally coding in front of you. So, you know, something previously that would take a developer, you know, for a lead magnet or productivity tool, could be a month, could be 2. Landing page a week. And it can be done in minutes now, which I think is really really exciting. It just opens up so many possibilities to what you can do within business. So in this example, what I'm creating is basically a lead magnet quiz to show how ready your business is for AI. So to be honest, I didn't give it too much consideration with the prompt. I just wrote it about 10 minutes before this meeting. So, we'll see what it spits out. But basically what we've got it here. So already we've got the Vercel version, AI business readiness consultant. Oops. And, it's put just a cover page, start assessment. First, tell me about your business. Let's go through consulting, technology tools, HubSpot, most time-consuming task your team do every day, emails, meetings, some data, our CRM, data. And you can see, like, I didn't give it too much, but these are pretty good leading questions. Email. Comfortable. Awesome. So you can see here, thank you. I don't know why it says 1,000. Maybe there was a question there that said my name, but here's your AI readiness assessment. Your AI readiness scores 5 out of 10. What this means, you're getting there. A few improvements will set you up for AI success. Next steps, I'll send you detailed AI readiness reports within 24 hours. So, a pretty decent, first attempt. We go over to Lovable. Lovable is still processing. It's taking a bit longer than usual, but we'll come back to that. So, we can see here, we've had a pretty good first attempt at this. There's a couple of things I'm not happy with. Number one, I'm going to want a form to capture the details as they come in. Start. And then it's meeting link. And then I'm just going to add a meeting link to the schedule a call. And I'll actually just provide my actual meeting link, and it'll add that in. So I'll just grab that. And obviously, if there's anything else you want to change, like you don't like the questions, you can go through that. So you can see here, it's just processing, and then it's going through that process again to make those changes. So, very simple, very easy to edit. Look, I have found if you do want to make like some really specific change, like I had a problem with a border on one that we created, and I kept trying to describe to the platform, I want that border to be this color. And I kept changing the thing behind it over and over again for about half an hour. And like I was trying to describe it in different ways. And then I asked it, can you clarify before? And it clarified, and it still had problems. So I suppose the point I'm making is it's still technology. It still has issues. You can definitely sometimes get caught in those loops, like when you're asking ChatGPT the same question over and over again, it's giving you the same answer that is incorrect. They're definitely not foolproof. But again, look what we've just created in 10 minutes. This could be ready to launch by the end of the hour. So we've got this. Sort of changed it. I sort of wanted it to be in when you start your assessment, but whatever. So then I can put that info in, go through all those questions. And then, we'll have that there that you can work through. Alrighty, and Lovable is ready as well. And so you can see here in Lovable, AI Readiness Consultant, start my AI assessment. The prompt had the questions in it, so it's exactly the same. I'll just quickly run through it. There's a little glitch there. I don't know what's keeping the same writing, so we'll probably just have to fix that. To I've added a form in it already. Right, so there's also a little glitch there as well because I've got a 5 out of 10, even though I just wrote C to everything. So like, obviously what are we probably going to do and score it's provided. I'm just going to ask it like how to clarify how the score is provided, because that's a bit generic. And there probably needs to be differences there around how we actually measure it, and sometimes it might not have anything. So we can go back in and just ask it to add that in so that we have a really clear so it doesn't really make sense how you get scores where it's all text based. But how do we get the score if it's text based? So, still obviously going to be some issues as you go through this stuff. To be honest, the issue is probably in my prompt. I did it on ChatGPT and I did it quick. So I didn't do it in Manus. And even in ChatGPT is still fine as well, if you prefer that. I just probably didn't prompt it enough to get to the point. Example. Yeah, cool. So it's just looking for specific keywords, which isn't going to work. Obviously in that last example, I just wrote C in all of them. I got a 5. So we need to go back and clarify that. And, I might even just say, can you come up with a better method? An update. Again, I wouldn't be that broad with it. I would have given it more advice, but in the essence of speed, we'll crack through. Now, some of the big stuff that sometimes would be really difficult for people is connecting the HubSpot, or your CRM. So as an example, I'm going to say to this, I want to connect that form to HubSpot so it creates or updates a contact. So, what this will do is it will go through and show us the steps. What it will usually do, and sometimes it doesn't, depending on the platform, it'll ask you to link the API. And so you can just even very easily go and grab your API key from within your platform, which is basically like a little code that links them together. And then that will literally pass data from your new lead magnet into your CRM, whichever CRM it is. Obviously, if your CRM has restrictions, that's something to be aware of. But as you can see here, it's thinking, it's doing that. Sometimes it'll pop up here and you can just link the key depending on platform. This generation uses an integration. Let's just see, it hasn't been connected. Cool. So this does it nice and easy. So I can just click this and it's going to connect the key. And I should have clicked that button there. It's going to pop up and basically HubSpot API key and it links it there. So, makes it so much easier just to link. There obviously can be some stuff in the background you need to do in your CRM to make sure the fields are going to match, and you can clarify and vibe your way through. But again, in my mind, it's just so insane that we can do this so easily now. Everyone should be using these tools, or at least playing around with them, or at least be aware that they're out there, because they're just so cool with what you can do. And like with anything, if you're unsure of anything or you don't know what an API is, or you don't know what they're talking about, you just ask and it'll give you the answer. We'll go back to ChatGPT. You know, it'll walk you through steps. If you don't know how to find your API key in HubSpot, you can ask it that. Other cool things about this, so as you can see, you can integrate different platforms. So like you can also integrate. So the key thing about this, and I probably should have said at the start, this is an AI platform, but it doesn't mean that when you create something, it has AI in it, if that makes sense. So what I mean from that is, if you wanted to create a chatbot, or maybe at the end of your lead form, you wanted the AI to write a personalized message to them in the like solution based off their written text, you can ask it to do that 100%. But again, you need to integrate an LLM like ChatGPT or Claude, whatever it is, into it, and you'll just follow the same thing. So, you know, you might say, based off their last answer, I want you to create a personalized message that'll be displayed on the website, and I want to, you know, include ChatGPT. I want ChatGPT to write it, and it'll go through those same steps. And again, you know, it'll tell you to connect it, grab your API keys. For that, you would need a paid account of Claude or ChatGPT. Just the $20 a month one's fine. The Pro, it's called on HubSpot. On ChatGPT. Can't remember what it's called on Claude. I think it's Pro or something similar. But the free version doesn't allow you to integrate with other platforms. So if you go to the $20 a month one, no restrictions. You get a range of different features in ChatGPT, and most importantly, that's when you can start integrating into different platforms, which gives you so much power to do stuff. We've done it before, where you create your own chatbot, as an example. You know, you can put it on a website. Like I said, created it before, so AI would analyze different answers and provide different messaging. Really, whatever you can think of, it can do. Probably would say that with some of this stuff as well, you don't always need to be leveraging or adding AI for the sake of adding AI. You know, sometimes if it's a calculator and it's a formula, it's just, you just follow the formula. You don't need AI to interpret it. You don't need AI to think about it, because AI still will make mistakes. You know, if it's a formula and we can manage it, that's always the best way to track it. Might just come back to Lovable and just see what it's done. Obviously, I gave it like the weakest prompt you've ever seen. Hasn't really improved it. Anyway, actually, maybe I should read what it's actually said. I had the screen there. So weighted 6 categories. Okay, so it's sort of assessing. You know, I personally think that you probably have a bit more of a rate yourself out of 1 to 10 to make it a bit easier. But yeah, as you can see here, you know, it's gone through and it's done that. So like once you're ready for it to launch, publish, and it's the same on both, or share. And when you share or publish it, basically that'll give you a URL that you can then utilize. So, you know, you would then embed that on your website, or, you know, link it or provide it to your team. And then, you know, you've created yourself a little app in, you know, less than 30 minutes. Is there any questions just about that? So that's the main stuff I wanted to go on. Does anyone have any ideas or anything they want to create with this? Or just maybe just have a little play?
Just soaking it all in.
What was that? Sorry, Virginia?
Just soaking it all in. It's really, it's crazy powerful.
So powerful. And it's what it'll be able to do in a few months' time as well will be crazy. So it's yeah, it's really, really cool, really exciting with what it can do. Awesome. There's no other questions. Short and sharp. Thanks so much for dropping by. Put the recording up on YouTube and post it to LinkedIn if anyone wants to watch again. But if not, yeah, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.